Welcome to this episode of YouTube where winter just does not want to let go of its grip this year. This is Blackstone laying in another fresh coating of snow and calves walking up the hill. You can see that snow kind of hanging to their guard hairs. So wolves having a two-coat system, the undercoat that keeps them dry and those guard hairs that are holding that snow kind of above their body. We do see wolves with ice balls, and you'll see a lot of chewing or licking on their paws. This warm March snow has a tendency to be a little bit more problematic for wolves than the colder January kind of weather. There is one wolf that is doing quite well and rarely ever has snow on her coat, and that is Rika, who utilizes the den as a primary place to be able to escape the weather. We're feeding a lot of extra things. We got some deer heads that came in from a chronic wasting disease sampling, so we have a lot of extra deer heads, and that smell of food can draw in other wildlife around the facility, as shown in this wildlife camera here. This was a February 3rd day with temperatures below zero. This was a pup, and we can see that based on its cartilage formation, what we call that the pup bracelet. Definitely a pup not in good health. We do not obviously want to feed these particular wolves. We don't want them to be conditioned to humans, so most of them kind of move about their business. By March, we saw an adult wolf show up adjacent to the exhibit pack, and you'll see the double fence that keeps them away from the wolves. Obviously, we're always concerned about what a wild wolf might carry as far as parasites or as far as disease. Now, all of our wolves are vaccinated. We have a very strong parasite control. If you look closely in the image, you'll see the ambassador wolves at the fence. They're evident by their reflective layer of cells behind the retinas called the tapetum lucidum. These reflective cells will reflect light back along the same path it arrived, which means that the light passing through the retina is reflected back into the eyes to see in low light conditions. So we definitely see that as a sign that the wolves were watching. And then we also noticed that this wolf hung around for a while. Not only did it have a little bout of excitement around 6:30, but by 7:30 in the morning, it was still kind of hanging around. And it had packed down quite a bit of snow right outside of that area. And by the time wolf care staff came in at 8, he had headed out. So Grayson's reaction was a little bit of a howl. Then as the rest of the pack has their ears pricked forward and very alert to the presence of that wolves, charges over, you see a lot of what are called T2 tails, straight back tails. Definitely not as much high tail arousal as they are in what we consider to be kind of more that intense interaction tails. And so if you see the order in which the pack comes back, it's the Arctics first, followed by Rika, followed by the pups, pretty much all of them showing kind of that T2, more of that competitive, alert, attack tail than the kind of the high arousal sweeping tail that you might find for some inner pack dominance. Again, here's that eye reflection that we talked about. That's Grayson giving a little bit of a threat response there. Axel coming behind him, and the Explore.org north camera just kind of panning on an auto setting, catching some of that activity. So when we came into wolf care, though, we were alerted by one of the camera observers that there was some activity. So then we went back to our surveillance cameras, our game cameras, and we were able to piece back together the events of that early morning. But by the time wolf care started, the wolves were pretty settled in, hanging out on the den as a social group, and really not showing any concern for the events just a few hours earlier. So this is one example of why the Explore.org and the surveillance cameras and the game cameras that we have around the facility are so important to understanding the dynamics of the wolf pack. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.